Good morning and welcome to Barcelona. I'm standing in the Spanish village, which is one of the places that I intended to visit today. But because we booked a TUI trip, they haven't quite stuck to the itinerary that we expected. So a lot of the research that I've done for today is not going to be any good. But never mind, we will see other things, interesting or even better. Not that you can tell from the footage, but I'm actually standing on Montjuic, or the Jewish mountain. And from the research done while here in Spain, it is almost certain that it's got its name during the Phoenician occupation in the centuries prior to 200 years BC. The hill is 173 meters above sea level and provides some spectacular panoramas overlooking Barcelona. In 1929, the hill was the host for the World Trade Fair, and in 1992 it hosted the Olympic Games. The Pobla Español, which in English is the Spanish town, is an open-air museum consisting of 117 buildings representing different styles of Spanish houses from different regions of the Iberian Peninsula. It includes restaurants and artisan workshops. And we'll go on a little tour now and show you all of them. The stage you can see there just behind me is permanently erected, and some very famous performers have performed there. Mark Knopfler of the northeast of England, of Dire Straits, was once here along with many others.
Your left-hand side, if you look between the trees, you can see the back of the National Palace. Remember that earlier on we saw the main facade as we were driving up the Spanish village? Well, now you can see the back of the National Palace. That it's always been a museum, a very important one, because it contains the most important collection of Romanic art around Europe.
We are passing the bull ring. There was apparently 3 in Barcelona, but bullfighting is banned in Catalonia. So this particular bull ring has now been changed into a shopping centre. This cathedral was on my original list and the one that all the tourists want to visit. Barcelona has 3 cathedrals. This one is called Sagrada Familia, the Holy Family Church. The Holy Family Church refers to the Holy Family of Christ, in other words, Joseph, Mary and Christ himself. So that's what the church is named after. Building is still ongoing and it started in 1882. A Catalonian bookseller came back from a trip to the Basilica in Rome and wanted to build a spectacular church here. After a year, the famous architect from Catalonia, Gaudi, took over the design and building of the church, and he provided all the plans for its construction, knowing that he wouldn't be here to see it finished. However, those plans were all destroyed during the Spanish Civil War. It's funded entirely by public subscription, and the building was halted in 1936 due to the Spanish Civil War, as I've just mentioned, and recommenced in 1940 because, of course, Spain wasn't included in the World War II. It didn't enter the World War. When people commented to Gaudi about the length of time it was taking to build, he simply replied that my client is in no rush. He was referring to God, of course. As I said, building is still ongoing 142 years later, and it relies totally on public subscriptions to fund the building. The building was halted during the COVID pandemic, so although it was due to finish in 2026, it's now going to be 2030 when it's completed. But when it is completed, it will be the tallest church in the world. The current tallest church is in a German town called Ulm, but this one, when it's finished, will be the tallest. It's a mix of architectural styles, from Gothic to Neo-Gothic to abstract to modernism, so there are lots of different facades, all in different styles. Of course, when the plans were burned during the Civil War, they quickly interviewed all the people that Gaudi had been working with, and they've managed to piece together what they think is more or less what Gaudi wanted the church to look like, and obviously they're continuing with that build today. Gaudi based his ideas on nature, so instead of building Romanesque type columns, straight and true, his columns were based on trees, twisted, leaning backwards, etc. So let's go and have a look around the church. We only have half an hour with no time to go inside, but we'll have a quick walk around and see what we can see. The section at the front, the entrance, was the design of the original architect in a style called Neo-Gothic, and the rest of it was down to Gaudi. This is the port of Barcelona, where the expensive yachts are docked, as you can see over there. And this building over here is the World Trade Center, Barcelona. And the flags hanging off the cranes are in preparation for the America's Cup, the yacht race, prestigious yacht race. And you probably saw earlier the British flag hanging off another crane. So that's what they are for. So over there in the distance is Montjuic, the Jewish mountain. And if I just track across, this is the cable car that comes down from the mountain over there to that tower on the other side. So we've got some free time, about an hour I reckon. He's looking at his watch and I don't have a watch today, but about an hour we've got to ourselves to walk around. So I'm going to try and see some of the buildings in Barcelona centre. It's all the problem with being on these commercial trips. You're always on a time schedule and hopping on and off the bus. Anyway, this, if I just spin around, this is a shopping centre on the port, called, what is it called? Maramagnum. And it's a bit like Eldon Square in Newcastle, or you know, many of the shopping centres around Britain. A boat there, just it's obviously a sailing vessel, but taking passengers around the port. So we're going to head off on me travels, and there's a bridge, footbridge, connecting the port to the original part of the city, or at least the old part of the city. So here we go. One of my YouTube followers wrote to me and said that Paranoia was a place in Spain, and I can see why they said that. The Spanish do not like to be filmed at all. I've twice had complaints about the camera, and I mean, for goodness sake, this country relies on tourism, so what they've got to complain about, I haven't got a clue. The statue over there, the guy on top of the column, is Christopher Columbus. The connection with Barcelona and Christopher Columbus is that in 1492 he sought funding for his first voyage to South America from Queen Isabella I and King Ferdinand V of Barcelona. They agreed to fund the voyage on the promise it would increase Spain's wealth and the size of the empire. And the writing on the building says Port de Barcelona. So I guess this was the official harbour building once upon a time, quite magnificently restored. Another impressive building with the name Aduana above it. This impressive looking building was once where they built boats. The tour guide told us that the water's edge came right up to the front of this building, and Obviously it's now a maritime museum, but it was originally built for the building of boats. Street performer in the shape of Galileo. And this is the main street leading up from the port called La Rambla. This is another one of Barcelona's cathedrals. This one's called Santa Maria del Pi, and it's right in the centre of the city. This is the main cathedral in Barcelona, so now you've seen all three, and it's the seat of the Archbishop of Barcelona. Two previous cathedrals existed on this site prior to this one. This cathedral took 150 years to build, and work began in 1298 and finished in 1417. It was built in the reign of the Crown of Aragon, and the style is unique to Catalonia, the style being Gothic. Well, that concludes this day trip to Barcelona. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'll say farewell, and I'll see you all in the next Discovery Day, wherever that may be. Bye for now.